Would you rather be smart or good looking? How come this car is boxy when all its siblings are curvy? And why do you have to buy it from a Mercedes showroom? Well, answers to these and more as we check out the Smart #5 together. But what is a Smart #5 in the first place, and where does it come from? Well, the first part is easy. It's a 5-door, 5-seat family SUV. It is pure electric and it's designed to be practical, fun, and a little bit premium. It's also a little bit rugged, or at least rugged looking. I mean, okay, you've got a rack there for mountain bikes, that's an accessory. It doesn't come with the car, but you do have these skid plates front and rear, as well as these unpainted wheel arches over here. And these are things that make this car look like it's ready for the jungle. And so the boxy shape makes sense. The Smart #1 and #3 are urban cars, so it makes sense for them to be sort of round and curvy, but this is a car that you drive into the wild green yonder, and so the boxiness is kind of a complement to that. But even though it is boxy, it's not completely angular. It does actually have quite nice curves. For example, over here, car designers call this a radius, and you've got these ovoid shapes all over the car. And that's something car designers call a graphic. And as Smart establishes its visual identity, I think you're going to see these repeated in future models. Mind you, I wouldn't take a #5 off-road myself. It doesn't have air suspension, it doesn't have off-roading tires, it doesn't even have all-wheel drive, at least not in Singapore. Instead, what we have so far are two versions, both of them single motor and both rear-wheel drive. The top variant for now is the Premium, which has an 800-volt battery with 100 kilowatt hours, and that lasts a claimed 590 kilometers. And then there's this, the Pro variant, with a 400-volt battery with 76 kilowatt hours, and that is good for 465 kilometers on a single charge, WLTP. As for where Smart is actually from, well, that's a long story, but you might recognize this logo from those micro compact two-seater urban cars that we used to see 20 years ago. And believe it or not, this Smart used to be that smart. And just decoding the logo here, we've got an arrow that means forward progress, and then you've got a C, which stands for compact. But I don't think that's the case anymore. In fact, this is the biggest Smart ever. And now Smart as we know it is half German and half Chinese. That's because it's 50% owned by Mercedes and 50% owned by Geely. That's like China's Volkswagen Group, which owns Lotus, Volvo, Polestar, Proton, Zeekr, and half of Smart. So what we have here is a 50-50 joint venture where the Chinese bring the EV technology and the styling is done by Mercedes. In terms of its footprint, the #5 is 4.7 meters long and 1.92 meters wide. And the wheelbase is a stretchy 2.9 meters. So this is not a compact car at all. And here's another dimension for you, 630 liters, which is how much you get back here. And how do you open this? Well, not here or anything like that, but watch and learn. So as I was saying, 630 liters is pretty substantial. It includes the space underneath the floor as well, of course, but if you do need more, then you can, of course, fold the back seats down, and you do that over here by pulling this lever. And that gives you up to 1,530 liters. So it's not just about numbers because, well, apart from practical touches like this lever here, you've got hooks for your groceries over here as well. Over here, I wouldn't keep groceries, but if I'm going camping or something, I might want to hang a lamp over there. Oh, but my favorite thing is, there's a space underneath the floor for this. The luggage cover, so that goes over there. I'm sure you know what it does. And it's a small thing, but not every car accommodates that. And I think that, well, having it here, it's really kind of smart. And yes, there is a frunk. It's 72 liters. That's because this is the rear motor. There's no front motor, so it's slightly bigger. And I know 72 doesn't sound like a lot, but it looks pretty practical to me. I mean, you could get a whole baby in there, or maybe a golden retriever. But what I really like about it is that you can open it up with the key or use the touchscreen. You don't have to sort of hunt around underneath the firewall and, I don't know, accidentally take out your cash card or something, which I think is pretty smart. Finally, it stopped raining, so I get to show you this car out in the bright sunshine. But too bad, because what I want to show you now is this. Frameless windows, and oh look, acoustic glass, so it's got a sandwich layer to absorb noise, which is a nice touch. Now, join me in the back, will you? And oh, if this video is remotely useful or entertaining to you, please consider subscribing. We're still quite a new channel and that would really help us out. Okay, so let's have a look at this now. When I say that Mercedes designed this car, I mean that they really designed the car. It's not just people who work at Mercedes, but people who work on Mercedes who've had a hand in designing this. And I think like all the little touches that you see in the boot, like the hooks and the compartment for the luggage cover, I think that's where you get a little bit of that European touch in this car, because there are a lot of Chinese EVs that do have a boot but don't have these little details worked out. So let's see if we can see more European touches in here. I mean, first things first, I think the quality of this place is actually quite nice. So this isn't leather upholstery, but it is, well, quite soft and it feels quite nice. But everywhere else in the cabin, well, I'm not seeing any hard plastics. Like over here, it's quite nice. Here is pretty nice as well. And even down here, that's where you usually find the hard, scratchy stuff. But yeah, it actually feels quite good over here. And even by the side of the seats over here, there are some premium cars with hard exposed plastics over here. But this one, yeah, it's covered by this leather-like material. So yeah, really, really good. In terms of the basics, well, okay, I've got two aircon vents. Don't have my own temperature controls, but you know what? That's good enough. I'll take it. Better than nothing. A couple of USB-C chargers, and this one is rated for 60 watts. So if you've got your laptop with you, you can bring your work into the car with you. Woohoo! I'm sure you've noticed this as well, a little compartment, but you know what? This wouldn't work super well because it's going to make noise. Let me show you something else. Lots of cars, of course, have a cup holder here, or a center armrest, which this does as well. But have a look at this. There's a nice compartment or a tray here for your phone. I can actually put it over here like that. There's a little separator so it doesn't move around too much, no matter what crazy person is driving. So yeah, I think this is quite a nice touch. I'll just put this back here. But look at this. This is my driving position, and look at the amount of space I have back here. I mean, there's just so much leg room. And yeah, you know what? That's never going to be a problem. But let me move back into the Tauke position. And let's say I find that there's not enough space for me, right? What I can do is push this button over here and move this out of the way. So look at that. And whoever's sitting there, well, too bad to them. I can, of course, recline or angle this seat if I want as well. It's powered, so that feels a little bit posh. Oh, there's a secret button down here I can press as well. Look at that. So, you know what? This is the best seat in the house, obviously, and I do feel a little bit like a prince sitting over here. And I have a glass roof above me. Let me show you what that's like if I cover it up. Hi, Smart, close the sunshade. And okay, if I don't want the sun, I can block it out. But hi, Smart, open the sunshade. Bet you it thinks we should make up my mind, but I'm the master back here. So picture this, right? Someone's driving the car, you're sitting back here, you have no shortage of space, you can recline, you can look up at the sky and not feel like you're shut into the back of a car. I think that's where this car really starts to show its EV Chinese car roots. Okay, while I'm here, let me run you through some of the differences between this Pro version and the premium version of the Hashtag 5. First things first, sound system. That one has a premium sound system, Sennheiser, with 20 speakers, and this one is in-house with only 9 speakers. Upholstery-wise, this is polyurethane and this is synthetic leather. The premium uses genuine leather for both. And oh yeah, I've got these perforations over here, but no fan inside, so the premium has ventilated front seats. That's a feature I actually quite like. Charging pads, I do have one over here. The premium has 2, so no arguments with the wife. And this doesn't have a head-up display, but the premium does. The biggest and most obvious difference though is over here. I've got a 13-inch display, and in the premium you've got 2 of them. Another 13-inch screen over there for the front passenger. I'm not actually sure what you can do with it. Some entertainment functions, I'm sure. And other cars with a second screen for the front passenger, well, I don't really find it all that useful, but I guess it's kind of nice to have. And you have to pay $40,000 more for the premium, so it's kind of nice to have something to show for it. So getting back to this, just look how crisp and sharp and smooth everything is. I really like this. And what's powering this is an AMD V2000 chip, which surprises me because a lot of cars and stablemates within Geely actually use Qualcomm chips. So I'm not a computing geek, but my understanding is that the AMD chip offers desktop class computing in quite a compact package. And it has to do things like run the connectivity, it has to run the HUD, it has to run both displays and run all the apps, of course. So a lot for the chip to do, but In this particular car anyway, it only has this one screen, no HUD, stuff like that. So it should be a lot of computing headroom, and it should be able to keep things nice and lag free. Let me take you on a little tour of this as well. I really like this interface because it does have a row of permanent buttons over here. These are the crucial ones for driving, so things like the rear demister or the driving modes are all, well, they all fall to hand easily right by the steering wheel. Then you've got this layer over here, which is super important because it's got crucial stuff like the climate control, I guess parking assist, stuff like that. And all this stuff never goes away. So when you have a zero layer like this, you can actually, futz around with whatever else you want, but these will always be there. Oh, I do want to show you as well that this car does have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto, both wireless. So suck on that, Elon Musk. But there is really a lot going on here. If I want to launch the radio, for example, I have to launch a radio app, just like the Spotify app, and then I get to choose my stations and so on. And there is a lot to get to terms with because, well, being apps, it's like a phone, but you can customize the position of these, which is handy. And there are quick launches for all your favorite features, and you can customize this as well. So let me see, like, oh, live monitoring. What the hell is that? Okay, I have no idea, so let's just get rid of that. Monitor my own life, and let me replace it with, okay, the button for screen cleaning. Okay, so let's say I'm a neat freak, I want to clean the screen every day. Just push that and have instant access to it. So yes, this is the electric car era and you have a lot to get used to, but I think after you've lived with the car for a while and customized it exactly the way you like, it should be okay. I should say that the menu system is actually very similar to what I've seen in many Chinese cars, but in terms of the skin, it does look quite posh and really quite nice. Something I always need to praise when I see it is this manual aircon vents. I mean, okay, they are a bit low and they are a bit slender, but look at how easy it is to have the cool air exactly where I want it. This is so much better than those stupid digital adjustable ones that you find in other EVs. So yes, smart very much. Okay, in terms of storage, well, I am not a tidy person, but I've managed to keep a lot of my crap hidden away underneath here. So I've got various odds and ends. And look, I even have space for a whole water bottle down there, so that's pretty deep. This is an electric car, so not much components here and lots of space for storage here and here. So yeah, this car was obviously designed by people who know how cluttered family life can be. In terms of the quality of the cabin, I do think that most of the plastic is actually quite nice and soft to the touch. But you have this enormous piece of plastic from here to here. Okay, yes, it is plasticky, but I am actually quite impressed with how they managed to squeeze in one long, unbroken piece, because normally with a piece this size, you need an expansion joint for the heat. So yeah, that is pretty impressive. And overall, I would say that this would probably pass muster for, say, one of the more lower-end Mercedes-Benz models. In fact, there are some bits that are actually quite Mercedes, like this button over here. And yeah, I think that for most Chinese EVs, what you get is very sort of pared down, minimalist look with the kind of iPad on the dashboard. But in this car, it's possible to see a little bit of Europeanness, and I think you can see and feel the Mercedes DNA. Okay, let's see what this baby can do. Electric cars are pretty quick and smooth. And yeah, this is typical. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that, but that is the speed warning. That's the most Chinese part of this car, because every time it thinks you're going too fast, it will sound a warning. And it drives me crazy. It's like having my mom in the car with me saying like, why are you driving so fast? So, okay, you can switch it off, but that is a real mission because, well, okay, it's 5 taps at least. Okay, let me show you. So 1 for the settings, 2 for driving assistance. Okay, I'm shutting you down. Okay, and then let's see. 1 more here, another swipe, and then you have to turn this off and confirm. So yeah, that is what, 5 taps and 1 swipe, and you have to do this every single time you drive the car. Time. It's gonna drive you crazy. And all the Geely cars are like that, like the Protons are like that, the Lotuses are like that. The Zeekrs are like that too, but once you turn it off in that car, right, it stays off, so you don't have to do it every single time you drive the car. So Geely, can you just please make that more consistent, because it drives me crazy and we're going to want to turn it off because this is pretty fast car. So how fast? Well, okay, I'm in the lowly Pro version, right, which only has 335 horsepower. If I upgrade to the Premium, then I get 358 horsepower. So not a huge amount of difference, right? 23 horsepower. And either way, you're going to get 373 Newton meters of peak torque. So yeah, you can expect the performance is very similar. 0 to 100 in this car is 6.9 seconds. In the Premium, it's 6.5 seconds. So yeah, not even half a second of difference. And I'm going to say that you've got the horsepower of like a 3-liter turbo engine, right? 335, but the performance is closer to a well-tuned 2-liter, I would say. I mean, I think a Golf GTI, for example, is still quicker than this. But this is electric, so the acceleration is smooth, it is immediate, and it is very, very urgent. So yeah, it does feel quick. And if you are kind of looking for something quicker than this, well, other countries have the Brabus edition. That's a twin motor, 646 horsepower. That one does 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds, okay? So it's really for the crazy people. And if you want that, I salute you. And I think most non-crazy people would actually prefer a detuned like 110 kilowatt version that could fit into Cat A. I mean, that's going to be slow and boring, yes, but it will actually be more affordable as well. So I think that would be appropriate for the Singapore market. But let's talk about a different kind of speed, and that's charging speed. Very important if you're thinking about an electric car. So for this one, the maximum speed, if you plug it into an AC charger, is 11 kilowatts. And to go from 0 to 100 for the battery, you're going to need roughly 7 hours. The fast charging is pretty quick, it's 150 kilowatts, and if you can find a charger like that, you can go from 10 to 80% in half an hour. Okay, but getting back to how this thing drives, right? Well, I think that it actually doesn't really encourage you to go fast. Even when you're going fast, you don't feel like going faster. The chassis tends to sort of move around underneath you sometimes. I don't mean it's unstable. A lot of the Geely cars do that. And this one is actually better sorted than some of the others that I've driven. But it does feel like the springs are fairly firm, but the dampers are fairly soft. And I don't know the curb weight of this car, but you can feel from the way it sort of sits over bumps and springs around like that. Minimum 2.2 tons, I'm going to say. So overall, this is not a sporty car. I mean, the steering is not particularly quick. I mean, it's not slow either, but you don't have that sense of agility with this car. Oh, but I tell you what though, it is substantially bigger than, say, a Mini Countryman SE or BMW iX1, but it doesn't feel like a big, heavy, clumsy car. And overall, I think I still prefer driving this to the iX1. So I want to complain about one thing, and that is the brakes. I mean, they work well, but they are a little bit snatchy, and I find them a little bit difficult to modulate. So I think some better braking feel would be nice. And also, well, okay, I mean, this bicycle rack above me is making a lot of wind noise. So yeah, life pro tip here, if you want to have a quiet driving experience, yeah, remove the rack. The other thing though is there's actually quite a lot of broken English around this car. What I mean by that is, okay, so for the navigation, it says not opened, right? And then if I want to switch off something, let's say the live monitoring system, it says hold the live monitoring button for 3 seconds to close the function. Like, you don't say close the lights, right? You say 关灯 in China, but that's a small complaint, but it's one of those things that kind of breaks the illusion here. It really takes you away from Germany and kind of transports you to China. Another really Chinese-y part of this car is the Smart Pilot Assist. Let me just switch that on here. Okay, it's basically adaptive cruise control. So it will follow the speed of the vehicle in front of me. It will help me steer itself within the lanes. I'm still supposed to drive this thing, but it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. So a lot of cars have this, and in this car I've noticed it's actually like quite cautious. Like if it thinks a vehicle is about to turn into my lane, it really brakes quite hard and quite aggressively, I would say. So you probably should keep an eye on that because you don't want to surprise the fellow behind you. But on a long drive, I can see how this would be useful to make things a little bit more relaxing. So to make stuff like that work, right, this car has 12 sonar sensors. It has 5 radar sensors, it's got 4 cameras, and then it's got 2 like high-def cameras as well. So I'm well surrounded by cameras and sensors. But if it all goes horribly wrong, then I have 8 airbags. But as they say in some parts of China, choi 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 choi. You know, that whole speed warning thing is a real deal breaker for me. I would like better braking feel as well, and nobody likes to see broken English on their car's interface. But there is a lot to like about the Smart Hashtag 5. Number 1, it is very practical, and I really love the rear seats. Number 2, it does ride comfortably, and number 3, it's got nice cabin quality as well. It does have a little bit of that baby Mercedes feel. But I really like the styling as well. I think this is a good looking car. So let me pull back a little bit. It is now December 2025 and this costs $231,000 with COE. And I think it actually adds a lot of character and color to the EV world. I mean, there's more to electric cars than just BYDs and Teslas, right? And this allows you to have a Chinese EV with some European flavor. Of course, that might not be enough to decide it for you, but if you are shopping for an EV for the family in this sort of price range, and if you want something a little bit distinctive, then I do think it's worth checking out the Hashtag 5. If you ask me, that really would be a smart thing to do. It does include space underneath the boot floor, of course, and I forgot to reset that, so let's do that again. And yes, it does have a front, and it is not opening. Wrong button, that's why. Hi Smart, close the sunshade. I forgot to reset it in the first place.